welcome to How DRM Would, the monthly show where I tell you how I would do things. Today, how DRM would plan out a Bat Family movie franchise. I know the date this is being recorded is the 1st. This is probably, if I can get my act together, going out on March 2nd. I'm sorry. This is still the February episode. I'm just an idiot, and this has taken me way longer to write than I thought. When this started, this How DRM Would was going to be a little bit of a shorter one. It was just going to be how I would create, or how I would write The Batman 2, the Robert Pattinson franchise. And it is slowly just grown to, I'm just taking Robert Pattinson's Batman and turning it into a Bat Family universe with him at the center and kind of that noir vibe. Noir, like film noir. Noir, there it is. Noir vibe. I have to say, that was the dumbest thing I have ever said or heard in my life. And just building a franchise out of it. A movie franchise. You got a bunch of movies. I'm giving you a lot of information about things. I'm kind of talk through what I think each movie's going to be like, what I think each movie should be. I kind of come up with my version of like titles for it, but it's kind of hard. Disclaimer, before we start anything else, go like and subscribe. Tell me if you guys enjoy this, and tell me down below which Bat Family member do you think would be the best in this franchise. It doesn't just have to be the ones I name, it could be the other ones. Also, I am a comic book noob. I'm not deep in the comic books. I love comic book things. I love the thought of Batman. Heck, we have another one that's going to be comic related coming up soon, but man, I am not perfect with Batman comics. So, I want you guys to go into this with an open mind. This is coming from a dude that just likes Batman in general. Not deep in the lore, just likes him. Also, you can see back here, my boy's finally returned. I realized I needed a 4th stuffed animal, and my boy, from back when the channel started, has finally come back, and you'll see him pink, black, whatever color. But yes, so, to start this off, we're going to The Batman 2. This first movie is going to be heavily inspired by a video that came out from Nando V Movies. I will be putting that video linked down in the comment section below. And in the card, you should see the card pop up. This is heavily inspired by his video, is what made me want to do a Bat Family, because at the end he talks about how it could lead to more movies, and I enjoyed it. I also just want to say this, just so you guys know, I don't own any of the extra pictures I put up on the screen here, so go check them out. They're literally the top pictures on Google, so just go check those out. Yeah, I don't own any of it, so don't automatically come after me about that. So, basically, this movie, the villain is Hugo Strange. I know what you're thinking. Why Hugo Strange? I didn't turn my front light on. Ready? Blinding. I do this for fun. I'm not a professional. Hugo Strange. Why Hugo Strange? Because you could use him to build the fantasy element of Batman, while at the same time still being able to keep the film noir. So, for each of these, I wrote a little plot summary here, so if you see me just reading, it's because I'm reading what I wrote, and maybe changing on the spot. Who knows? So this Hugo Strange comes to Gotham to do experiments on humans, while also fronting as the new head doctor at Blackgate Prison. Key word, it's just Blackgate right now. And then Batman hears about a call at a random home that the Batman was seen there. Obviously confused, he decides to go there and check out what's happening, where he's jumped by a literal man-sized bat. Man-bat! What is he doing here? Jump scare, Batman trying to fight him off. Very confused on why a giant literal bat that looks kind of humanoid is jumping him. Obviously fights him off, but Man-Bat gets away and flies away. Batman goes back to Man-Bat's house after the fight. They get a little bit away. He goes back there, and we kind of learn about the Man-Bat backstory. We learn about his real name, what he's been doing, the experiments. You might like the Gotham video games did. You can have a little bit of like a cinematic thing where you see a video of him doing his experiments and slowly losing his mind and transforming. So then we go into the next night. Bruce is still kind of mulling over what he saw. But he decides after the last movie he's gonna host a fundraiser for the city in his house. He's going to hold it there. The mayor is organizing it. He just said, "Hey, all right, mayor, I will let you use my house." So we get a little fundraiser at the Wayne Manor. Bruce Wayne and Hugo Strange meet and talk, and there's mentions of the Man-Bat and Batman and how wild it is. There's two bat-type things in the city, and they have like a very almost awkward conversation, but more like a Hugo poking and Batman trying to deflect it, but it not really working yet. Batman decides to go to Blackgate after this weird conversation with Hugo Strange, where Strange then locks him in and forces him to fight through waves of inmates. And then he just fights through them. Bah, bah, bah. Just Batman being badass. Maybe he's using a couple new gadgets that he has. I think in this movie it'd be very fun to see him use a good couple batarangs, just beating people up. Oh, it'd be so good. Once Batman makes it up to Hugo Strange, he finally makes him confess, and he finds the notes that proves that Hugo Strange helped Dr. Robert Kirkland, which is the name of Man-Bat, create the Man-Bat serum so that he could see what happens to a human mind when he becomes the Bat, so he could understand, because he wants to get in the head of Batman. So he thought if he could help him make himself like a bat, he'd understand Batman. So he beats him. He locks him up in Blackgate, where he was a psychiatrist, but is now locked up there in his own little special cage of Batman's created. And then to end the movie, we have the very depressing circus scene. And all Batman fans are going, "Oh, you're doing the circus scene here." And I'm like, yep, to end the movie, I think it's perfect for an after credits scene. Nah, you know what? It just ends. And then it's just the credits. There's no after credits scene. And we just see, the Flying Graysons get murdered by a random thug in this one. It's a random thug-ish. Random thug-ish. This movie also will introduce one more key character, Harvey Dent. I know he is going to be needed later, but Harvey Dent pre-jacked up face, which then will lead into the next movie. I feel like he'd be a good person to introduce during the fundraiser. So you have a Hugo Strange scene. You also get this little scene between the mayor and Harvey Dent, who just came to town, who's a big shot everyone likes from the higher-ups. So then the next movie is called The Batman and Robin, because I couldn't come up with a better name. That's right. We've got Dick Grayson's Robin. So we kind of get like a little bit into it. We're not going straight into Dick Grayson not knowing anything. He's still new. He has the very basic just suit for Robin. That's basically all he has. He doesn't have any of the gadgets, any of the fun things. He just has the suit and his incredible athleticism that Dick Grayson has. Well, this is like a year later, so we don't actually have to... We could see in a flashback scene or something about Harvey Dent being disfigured, but the movie starts with Batman and Robin trying to track down an indecisive coin-flipping bank robber and his team. And while they're trying to find a pattern in the robberies, a different robber named Copperhead, who is another, like, smaller villain, he tries to rob a bank, gets caught. You get this little fun, like, interaction between a different villain. He's not the main villain, but you still get Copperhead in there, and they get to fight him off, and all the really deep lore Batman fans will be like, "Hey, it's Copperhead!" Like, they'll get that. And then they get, after a few robberies, they finally track down, they figure out what's the pattern. That's where they're going. That's where Two-Face is going. Well, before they could get there, they get ambushed. Robin gets captured. And the new lead detective, Jim Gordon, gets captured. So then he sits there and he does the classic thing. Pick one, Batman. Or else I will decide for you. He holds the coin up and says, "I'll decide for you." And Batman, hesitating, going, he doesn't know what to do. Two-Face flips the coin. He gets the damaged side, and he goes, fantastic. Pulls two guns out and shoots the chains to kill both. Batman's able to catch him and hold him while one of his gadgets falls and Robin catches it. I know it's a little bit luck, but it's Batman and Robin. He gets lucky. Robin gets out of his cage, able to climb up to Batman and help him get Jim Gordon out. But then they look, and the entire Two-Face crew is gone. Batman and Gordon have a little bit of a talk. Gordon turns around, talking, turns back around. Batman and Robin are gone, and he kind of has the reaction of, you fuckers, why aren't you here anymore? I think some good things in this would be the Batjet. You get to see them flying in that. More expanded Batcave. I feel like you could have some Lucius Fox scenes, kind of start building him into this. The next movie is a couple years later. It's Nightwing. Yes, we're doing it instantly. This has to go fast. I feel like I'm going at a very fast pace for these movies, and I understand if you don't like that. It's just the way I'm doing it. So, the main villain is again Two-Face. Dick Grayson finds out that he decides to leave Gotham to find Two-Face, even after Batman tells him not to. He's older. He's like, I want to find Two-Face. We need to get him. He's a madman out there robbing banks. Like, we need to go get him. And Batman's like, there's a lot of bad in this city. We can't spend our times focusing on one small piece that is completely out of our control now. He's in another city. We have issues here to take care of. We're trying to fix Gotham, not the other other cities. Robin goes, fine. I'll go get him. And leaves the Robin costume. His Robin days are over. He doesn't even take it with him. He leaves it with Batman, who's kind of distraught. He goes to Bloodhaven, the canonical place that Nightwing goes. And also it happens to be where Two-Face has been seeing the gang robbing another bank. At this point, he's pretty rich, but let's be honest, Two-Face isn't going to get away with it because once Nightwing arrives in Bloodhaven, there's a guy named Kite Man. You know, another like mini villain that he takes on. He isn't donning really a suit or anything. He goes back and talks to Lucius and asks him, hey, I have this suit that was made for me, but doesn't matter. Will you make me these weapons? Which is his like batons, his lightning batons. And he finally goes and finds Two-Face, fights through his people with his new batons. Comes up to Two-Face, and Two-Face kind of gives I remember when I almost killed you, kid. You grew up well. Too bad it's ending now, unless you get out of my way. And Nightwing's like, you hired a hit on my parents. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, the Flying Graysons. And he goes, Dick? Huh, I'm surprised you survived. I want to take your family out. Because that carnival was costing me a lot of money, bringing too much publicity into the city. Needed to get them out of the way. Something in me, and he flips the coin, catches it, and it's the bad side, told me they needed to die. We're kind of making sure people know he just the scarring didn't make him a psycho. He was a psycho before. The scarring made him show it. So they have this big final confrontation with one of the banks that is on fire. This time Two-Face is trying to burn this one to the ground because he's, you know, the coin told him to. So they're fighting. They have this huge fight. They have to save each other a couple times from the fire, or they save themselves from the fire a couple times. And as Nightwing has he could end him. He could get rid of him. He killed his family. He decides not to and takes him to Blackgate Prison. On to the next movie. This is movie number what? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is The Batman Legacy, aka The Batman 3, but I call it The Batman Legacy because I think it's fantastic. Main villain, the Joker. Here's where we do the Joker. So, I know what you're thinking. Well, they're leading up to Joker in number 2. Screw that. It's stupid. I don't like it. We're doing in the fifth movie, 5 movies. There's 4 movies in this Batman universe without the Joker being the villain. The fifth one, now we bring in the Joker when a new gang takes over with a clown motif after all the other gangs are out of the way. A gang with a clown motif comes in. Obviously, people know Joker. They start robbing banks and art museums. They also go for art, kind of mirroring people to know what kind of Joker we're getting. Jack Nicholson, the gangster Joker. So Batman keeps trying to hunt down the leader, but then just keeps getting caught in these wild, wacky, weird traps. Bombs and pies and weird acid rain. It's just, this is where you give a good, not producer, a good director fun with some gadgets, some fun Joker murder tactics, right? So he's still reeling from the departure of Dick, because this movie takes place about the same time Nightwing does. So this kid decides to try to steal the tires off the Batmobile. Jason Todd, baby! That's right, he's fighting the Joker, but he has Jason Todd. In this movie, I want the bat suit to look a little more big. It has to fit Jason, who's a little bit of a bigger kid, like more muscular than Nightwing was. He's obviously going to have much more of a hand-to-hand boxer, I'm just going to beat you with my fists and not just out-acrobat you fighting style. And he also gets to be able to have the flyer, because I think it'd be good if he had the grappling hook, the Robin one. It's basically Batman's, just a Robin has one, so they have 2 of them. So that he has a little more gadgets. Lucius gets to make a little more gadgets for that. And then, with the final battle, it happens within an art museum. It's a crazy final battle with goons and traps, but they finally get to him and arrest him. This is not the end of the movie, which is instantly going to get people going, oh, Jesus Christ, why is it not the end of the movie? So Batman comes to Blackgate to interview the Joker, where the Joker tells him he got what he wanted. The Batman is confused. What do you mean what you wanted? What did you want? But the Joker just breaks out in that laugh, and he's just laughing. And Batman's like, what did you want? And then the wall behind him explodes, knocking Batman back. He's kind of dazed and confused. And once he gets himself up, and he looks, Joker's no longer at the table. He looks at the open hole and sees the Joker leaving in on a helicopter, yelling, "See you later, bats!" as he flies away. And boy, gets a little pissed off. Obviously, again, these synopses are just the main core pieces. You obviously are going to have a bunch more scenes, a bunch more interactions. The mayor can get a bunch more. Jim Gordon talks. The bat signal should absolutely be introduced, or should be kept. Because I think it was in the first... it was in the first one. The next one is the Batman and Robin 2, with the main villains being 2. So, we get the new Robin suit. We get to see it's a little bit like a year after. The Robin suit looks a bit more worn because Dick's a little more... Or not Dick. Dick was really nice with it. He kept it really nice. Jason's a little more rough with it. So, they get like this weird invitation from Ra's al Ghul to come to his lair to a fight. Batman and Robin get separated, but Batman's fighting off people, and he gets to Ron. He's like, "Where's Robin?" And Ron goes, genuinely surprised, I don't have him." Batman attacks Ra's al Ghul, barely gets away, and he searches the entire compound and can't find Jason or any way to find him. You guys know what's coming. This is my way to get there. I know it's not the normal one. This is how I do it. So then we get a lot of scenes of Batman searching for Jason. He's trying to find him. He's going around the city. He's beating up thugs. Like, "Where's Robin? What do you know?" And then a flash drive is delivered to him with a live stream. Wow, hold up. I have to fix this just because I don't want to read that wrong. So then it's a live stream of the Joker torturing Jason Todd. But as Also the scenes where he's looking to find Jason, we get a scene with Nightwing and Batman, and Nightwing's he gets what Batman wants. He gives him some information. It's not that helpful, but he gives him some information. So Batman starts to track the signal. You get Joker destroying Jason with a crowbar. He's getting close to the location and tells Alfred to tell him exactly what the address is. When it comes up, he jumps in the Batmobile and takes off in the direction of where the giant circle is. Joker goes to leave when he sets a timer on a bomb and says, "Tick-tock, bats." Alfred goes, "Here's the location," and Batman hits the gas and takes off going for it. And he's getting really close. He gets out of the Batmobile and goes running, and it explodes. The building explodes. And it's heartbreaking. For people that know the comics and know what's coming, they're like, "I don't want to go through this again." And for people that don't know are going to be like, "What the fuck?" He lives, right? He runs into the rubble in a panic, moving things, and finds Jason's body. And you just see Batman's face. And he walks out of the rubble, like the comics, because I know this is, carrying Jason's dead body. And then we get the final scene of the movie with Jason's funeral. And it's tough, and it's sad, and Batman's not there because he doesn't want to give up who he is. A lot of people are there because it's Robin. They see Robin dead. Batman doesn't appear there. He's there from a distance and walks away. Next movie is Nightwing 2. The villain is Poison Ivy. This movie, just so you know where it is in the timeline, is happening right at the movie is happening before up to about the beginning of Batman and Robin 2. The villain's Poison Ivy, bringing Poison Ivy. So Nightwing hears about an incident where an explosion happens in a botanical gardens. He goes to find the plants are super overgrown. He's like, "Why did the place explode?" And they're like, "Well, explode. The plants blew up inside of it." More like they just exploded out of the building. Not like Ivy blew up the building. No, it's like the plants blew up out of the building, dude. Like, it's overrun. They're overgrown, taking over the place. He lives in an apartment. That's where his station is. He starts to notice a pattern of events like this taking place at, like, botanical gardens, at more expensive houses that have really nice gardens. And then he figures out where they're going to go, and he guesses. He goes there to find Poison Ivy, tries to use the seduction gas to get him to leave her alone. She doesn't want to fight him. She's just like, "I'm trying to save the plants. Leave me alone." Gets him to leave her alone. It's like 2 days later when he finally wakes up out of it. She doesn't kill him because that's not her point. Her point is to save the planet, not kill people, but she will if she has to. She has left a couple dead bodies in these buildings, but they also tried to kill her, so then he finally gets to go to Lucius and be like, "I need a gas mask for this." And before the Batman and Robin goes down, you get a couple scenes with him and Jason meeting, him using the Bat computer to analyze the toxins, understand what he needs. You get to see the suits a little bit more worn. He uses his own version of the Batarangs, but they're blue, like the Nightwing Orangs. I don't know what to call them. So then he goes there with the gas mask made for his suit. Huge fight. He defeats her and sends her to Arkham Asylum, which we get scenes early in the movie of Arkham Asylum being built. A lot of the crazies from Blackgate are being sent to Arkham Asylum, so we finally have Arkham. It'll be fun. So right here is a big part of this whole thing. This is where Robert Pattinson gets to choose if he was to stay on or leave the franchise. So we would ask him 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 main movies and 2 cameo appearances. That is what we'd sign him on for this. But at this point is where Robert Pattinson gets to choose. Do you want to stay as Batman? And we will keep this franchise going since a few years later you get to play like a bigger character. Or do you want to go? Hey, I did the Batman thing. I loved it. I want to move on. Fine, that works. Perfect. We hope you the best. We will then go out and find another actor that'll play an older Batman, kind of like Ben Affleck does now, just a little bit older than Pattinson, like a 4 or 5 year older. He looks a little more grizzled Batman. Either way, we have next Batman versus the Red Hood. Yeah, baby, that's what we're getting. We're putting him in the title. Everyone's gonna know Red Hood because Red Hood, and people are gonna be like, there's gonna be that small few who are like, who's Red Hood? I want to find this out. And there's gonna be that bunch that are like, yes. We start the movie with like the scenes of Tim Drake figuring out who Batman is, kind of learning a bit of the nuances of being the Robin. We get to see his suits a little bit more suited up. Not a ton, just a little bit more. They go and stop like a routine bank heist. He has the staff that he uses. He has batarangs. He has more gadgets. He's the smart one. My favorite Robin, just saying that. He's the smart one. He goes and tries to use gadgets more, less of his fighting skills, more gadgets. He's got a genius detective mind, which will help them figure out who Red Hood is. In the end fight, Tim lets Batman and Red Hood figure it out once they figure out who it is. But the rest of this movie is under the Red Hood, because I do not want to screw with that. It's such a good story. We take that and you just put it into movie form. Have I read it? Personally, no. But I've heard it's one of the greatest Batman stories ever created, and I'm not touching it. So, this movie will just be under the Red Hood. So, there's going to be the next movie, Red Hood, which is a prequel to Batman versus Red Hood, with the main villain being Bane. And it's just before he goes back for Bruce, Jason's in a different city training. We get to see Ra's al Ghul bring him back to life. He doesn't know who he is. He's trying to take out people. He goes to fight them one-on-one just with his fists. Can't do it. He meets Bane, who beats the ever-loving crap out of him. Like, I want you to find, like, Thor Bjornsson, huge dude, who basically beats him half to death. You get the tubes. He's going to be the Venom. Is that what the serum's called? Whatever it is, the power juice. He's just going to pump up and basically think Jason's dead. So when he goes back to his apartment, he barely gets back, and there's a female lead, Talia, who finds him and has a little bit of compassion in her heart, helps him. He starts training more. He gets his guns, pew pew pew. This movie's gonna have guns in it, which is gonna be so much fun because these first ones really aren't for any of the heroes again. So you get Red Hood with pew 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 guns. He puts on the Red Hood suit that we see in the movie after. And then he gets in a fight with Bane and all the people. And even using guns, I want him to barely beat Bane. I want it to be the fight of his life. And afterwards, like, Talia's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm gonna kill Batman. And leaves. Which leads to Batman versus Red Hood. Again, these movies, this is the order they come out in. Doesn't mean that's the order they are in the timeline. I want to make a few so it's like, oh, so this is the next movie in the timeline. No, it's actually a prequel to the movie before it. And it's like, oh, fun. So you get a little bit of fun with the timeline with this. Next movie is Red Robin, villain's Deathstroke. Tim goes to a murder scene where a political figure has died. He has to find the culprit. It's much more of like a detective movie. And he spends the whole time trying to find the person, barely missing him. Gets the Red Robin suit, which is fantastic, and I love this. And this would be my favorite movie. He finally gets the Deathstroke, barely beats him, but then he gets trapped, and Deathstroke gets away, leading to the final movie. Right, the second person we'd have to just guarantee for literally 2 movies for Robin, and then they're like not seen in either the other 2. Like, if Robert Pattinson wanted to come back, it's like, you're not taking on a lot. This villain is going to be the 5v5. It is Batman, Red Hood, Nightwing, Red Robin, a Robin, Damian Wayne, who has like the armor suit, all the things Tim had, but just armor and a sword because he doesn't give a flying fuck, right? Versus Bane, Poison Ivy, Deathstroke, Joker, and Harley Quinn. basically the whole movie is introducing all the characters. You get a little bit of backstory to Damian Wayne. You get Damian not wanting any help. All these people break out of Arkham or are seen in the area, and Batman's like, I have a feeling and a worry, and Tim shows up and goes, I have a feeling and a worry, and Batman goes, yep, I felt it too. So I need to get my other two sons, Tim, going, Dick will definitely come. You think Jason even wants to be around you? And he says he has to. Goes, convinces Dick Grayson, who says, yeah, Poison Ivy escaped. Fantastic. I'll beat her again. I have the gas mask. Let's go. Get some interactions between him and Damian, him and Tim. Him and Tim get along. Tim and Damian don't get along at all. They hate each other with a fiery passion and are constantly getting fights. There's a moment where they do get in a fight before they are stopped by Batman and Nightwing. Then they go to get Jason, who says no and then tries to murder them before they kind of fight him off. And he finally goes, fine, because I want Bane. I'm gonna kill Bane. And Batman goes, we don't kill. And he says, shut up, you old bag. And then you just get the big 5v5 fight. And you get a bunch of one-on-ones and like a group fight. You get Bane versus Red Hood, Poison Ivy versus Nightwing, Deathstroke versus Red Robin, Joker versus Batman. And I think this version of Joker would be able to fight a bit and use gadgets. God, Batman's having to deal with that. And Harley Quinn, who also is introduced in this movie, versus Damian Wayne, which would be a fantastic fight. In the end, they're able to beat him and lock him up with the Joker saying, come on, Bats. You and me, together forever. Fighting it out. Dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight. Basically just saying, you are nothing without me, and you will never stop me. Because I am your perfect opposite. And that, my friends, is how DRM would create a Bat Family movie franchise. I think it's very fun. I think it's fantastic. Sorry again about this one coming out late. Just saying the next one hopefully will be out on time. We're going comics again. Just saying. Going comics again. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Boopa! Boopa! Boopa!